Revealed, the touching moment she asks, "Will you dance?" Not knowing he is her billionaire boss. Emma's heart raced as she surveyed the frantic scene surrounding her. Tables stood half-set against a backdrop of frantic last-minute checks for the town bash. She dedicated every ounce of her being to saving her family's catering business, inheriting not only the dream but the crushing weight of responsibility after her father's unexpected death. The pressure threatened to suffocate her, bills piled high, desperate families relying on her, and competition lurking around every corner. Could she really keep her father's legacy alive, or was it all slipping away? Emma. Her younger brother Jake's voice cut through her frantic thoughts. He was swiping at the mobile app she had encouraged him to use for his classes. She glanced at him. His hopeful smile was a reminder of why she pushed forward. She couldn't fail him. But in the depths of her mind, doubt gnawed at her, a fear that each missed opportunity chipped away at their future. Across the coffee shop just a few weeks ago, she had met Jack, a captivating stranger who understood the hum of her world without her having to explain it. They connected effortlessly over shared dreams and fears. With each passing evening, their long talks expanded her horizons but also sent tendrils of confusion spiraling through her mind. What did he see in her? Was it her ambition, or something else? Before she could linger on those thoughts too long, a desperate reality slammed down on her again. The rival catering company, a smooth operation that thrived on sabotage, had thrown her plans into disarray. Dread crept in as she imagined failing her family, failing Jake, failing her father's memory. Maybe Jack wasn't just a kind distraction, maybe he might have solutions. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amidst the mounting chaos of the night, Emma's mind raced. As she watched staff scramble, her determination hardened, yet vulnerability gnawed deeper. What if she couldn't recover? What if those dreams with Jack were just delusions, flitting safely behind his polished facade? In the center of her turmoil, daring to pull the fabric of vulnerability and ambition together, the looming question overtook her heart: could she invite someone so important into a world so flawed? As the dance floor lights twinkled around the event, she spotted Jack standing at the edge of the crowd. The urge to reconnect surged through her heart, aching, a longing for his wisdom and warmth amidst her solitude. She stepped forward, her candor mingling with the tension of the moment. "Will you dance?" The words spilled from her lips, a temporary escape from the chaos, a bold stride toward the unknown. But as he stepped forward to take her hand, hesitation flickered in his eyes, a storm of emotions wrestling within him. Time froze, the music faded, revealing the raw intensity of their shared moment, only for Jack to pull back, reality crashing around them. His secret breathlessly revealed, leaving her grappling in a fog of confusion and desperation. What did this mean for them? Would he view her ambitions through the lens of a business opportunity now that he was unmasked as something more? Emma stood gripped with uncertainty, caught between two truths: her drive to elevate the family legacy and the risk of losing the exquisite connection she'd built with Jack. The evening's tension coiled tighter, yet her future teetered on the precipice of revelation, leaving her heart suspended in dread and hope. The silence hung heavily in the air, vibrating with unspoken words and unresolved tension. Emma's heart beat fiercely in her chest, battling the paralyzing mixture of excitement and dread. Jack had stepped back, yet the gap between them felt insurmountable in a world where loyalty and ambition clashed violently. Was their connection merely an illusion crafted in soft-spoken evening conversations and shared dreams, or was there a deeper synergy that could withstand the storm of their circumstances? "Emma," Jack started, his voice a mere whisper, but the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes felt like a chasm growing between them. She swallowed hard, the weight of her insecurities threatening to drown her. "You don't need to explain. I understand if this is complicated," she managed, her resolve faltering. The truth was that his revelation only compounded the pressure she had been feeling. She couldn't afford more complications, not when each day brought her closer to disaster. "Complicated? No, it's not that," he replied urgently, stepping closer, the crowd still swirling around them oblivious to their moment. "It's just that I'm not sure how it will work out, with the business and personal lives colliding, and you deserve clarity." His word struck a nerve. Clarity was a luxury she could hardly afford. At that moment, she could feel every fear she had harbored creeping back, threatening to consume her. Did she want clarity so badly, or did she crave the comfort of his presence? She needed to focus on her business, on salvaging her family's legacy, on Jake's future. Did she even have room for a relationship, especially with someone like Jack? Clarity? She echoed, the syllables tainted with doubt. "You think I'm clinging to illusions? That I'm clueless about the world around me?" The defensiveness erupted before she could rein it in, a flash of frustration revealing vulnerabilities. "No, Emma," he replied firmly, and she could see the fire in his eyes. "You're too ambitious, too passionate. I just don't want to be a distraction. I can help you, but I need to know that you'll be okay." His offer was simultaneously ironic and galling. Help, was that what he thought she needed? She had fought tooth and nail to keep her business afloat, it was born of her father's legacy. But then light flickered through her turmoil. Maybe this was a moment to strategize. What if Jack could help? What if his connections and insights could empower her? Help? She considered aloud, her voice tempered with calculated resolve. "Every opportunity should be on the table, don't you agree? I need a lifeline to pull my family out of this mess, and if you have the resources or connections, it could be worth exploring." A pondering look settled on Jack's face. She was no longer pleading for simple understanding, she was outlining a plan, wrestling with the unknown while rooted in her ambition. This was the Emma she wanted to be, the one who seized her destiny rather than letting it slip through her fingers. But an internal voice screamed for caution. Would she lose her sense of self, her independence, entangled in this new dynamic? What did it mean to engage with Jack, given their complex origins? "I just don't want to mix the personal with the professional," Jack replied slowly, the tension in the air thickening. Emma could see him wrestling with the decision, his instinct to protect her colliding with his desire to support her endeavors. "Life is messy, Jack. I've learned that the hard way. If we can find a way to navigate this together, we owe it to ourselves to at least try." The stakes rose palpably, a challenge hung in the air between them. Emma's convictions coalesced around her mission, while a layer of vulnerability breathed life into her aspirations. Could they truly merge these two worlds, or were they destined to collide? Just as Jack opened his mouth to respond, a loud crash echoed from the back of the venue, interrupting their moment. Emma felt her heart drop. Instinct kicked in, the reality of her responsibilities snapping her back to the present. She left the unfinished conversation hanging as urgency propelled her mind into crisis mode. "Something's gone wrong. I need to check it out." She turned on her heel, adrenaline-fueled energy propelling her forward, but Jack called after her. "Emma, wait. We're not finished here." But the gnawing sense of urgency drowned out his words, and as Emma rushed into the fray, she felt the gravity of her decisions weighing her down. How could she integrate her burgeoning connection with Jack into her chaotic reality? As the mystery unfolded just beyond the event's vibrant chaos, a nagging question loomed: would her determination to protect her father's legacy blind her to the potential of what could be and who she was becoming? The cacophony of shouts and the shattering of glass filled the room as Emma plunged into the chaos, heart pounding and mind racing. She steeled herself, thoughts narrowing to the immediate crisis at hand. What risk had her family's business suddenly faced? Was it a petty fight, a clumsy accident, or something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? Navigating through the crowd was like swimming against a current. The energy in the room shifted. Anxiety prickled at her skin. Emma's instincts roared back to life. This was no longer just about her and Jack, this was about the foundation of everything she had worked so hard to hold together. "Get back!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the murmurs. A small group of people stood agog in a circle, eyes wide. She pushed through them. A broken display case lay at the center of the disturbance. Strewn amongst the shards were irreplaceable artifacts, facsimiles of her father's finest pieces. "Are you okay?" Emma's voice softened as she approached the employee kneeling by the glass, who was shaking. Their eyes connected, and she extended a hand, pulling them to their feet. "We need to collect everything and secure the area." "What was the point of this?" the employee murmured, looking despondent. Her breath hitched, that question eerily mirrored her own doubts. This was no time to lose focus or to entertain existential dilemmas. She needed to act decisively. "We'll figure it out. Just help me gather what remains." The air thickened with unspoken anxiety, but she pushed it aside, focusing on the immediate obstacles. As they worked together to collect the remnants, she felt the weight of the crowd's gaze upon her. They expected her to lead. Each broken piece she cradled in her palms echoed her fragmented ambitions, her aspirations clashing with reality. She felt a familiar pressure in her chest. It had been the defining backdrop of her quest. But in the midst of the tumult, new resolve ignited inside her. If she could confront this crisis head-on, she could confront everything else, including her tenuous connection with Jack. When things quieted, she turned to assess the crowd, who were observing her every move. "Thank you for your help," she called out, attempting to regain control of the narrative. "We'll fix this." The energy in her voice surprised even her. Jack emerged from the throng, concern etching lines on his face. "I was looking for you. Are you all right?" "I am now," she replied, realizing that confronting chaos didn't just apply to material things, it was a broader reckoning. There's a lot to sort out, and this could mean serious financial repercussions. Her eyes met his, challenges brewing in both their gazes. He nodded, grabbing her arm gently. "We need a plan. You have to address everyone in the room and reassure them of our commitment." A flood of frustration washed over her. Another task to juggle when she hadn't even sorted out her feelings or the possibility of their working together. "I don't want to delegitimize what is happening here by putting on a show. They need to see it serious. Then let them see you serious. You're the heart of this place," he insisted. A smirk fought its way through her turmoil. "My father would have hated the mess, but he would have respected determination." Jack's expression shifted slightly. There was understanding between them, tempered but powerful. They were two sides of the same coin, wrestling with their legacies while trying to navigate the uncertainty of each other. The potential lingered just beneath the surface, aching to emerge, taking shape in the aftermath of chaos. "What if I asked everyone to pitch in if they have ideas, thoughts? A true collaborative effort?" She pondered, her mind racing, harnessing the moment to weave them together in purpose and direction. "That's exactly what we need," Jack replied, warmth infusing his tone. "But you need to rally them first, without hesitation. You'll never know what you can create until you try." As Emma surveyed the crowd, anticipation surged through her veins. She wasn't just the owner of her father's legacy anymore, she was evolving into a leader, ready to face what lay ahead. But within that empowerment, the question that haunted her remained: was she powerful enough to handle her emotions intertwined with professional obligations, especially where Jack was concerned? Even as she prepared to address the room, a rush of uncertainty wormed its way into her conscience. The stakes had never been higher, and in the back of her mind lingered the nagging question: would this crisis strengthen her resolve or unravel the delicate balance she was striving to maintain? As Emma took a deep breath and stepped forward, she felt the weight of anticipation blend with her fears. A defining moment awaited, but it was only the beginning of a much larger confrontation. What other truths would be uncovered? Emma glanced around the makeshift circle of staff members and patrons. The room, still tinged with tension, felt unusually quiet now. With each heartbeat, she concentrated on the task before her, re-establishing control while navigating the shambles of her emotions. Raising her voice, she cleared her throat, cutting through the silence. "Everyone," she began, finding strength in her careful choice of words, "thanks for your patience. Obviously, we have faced an unexpected challenge today." The murmurs swelled gently as the crowd leaned in, hungry for her direction. "I want us to view this incident not only as a setback but as an opportunity to come together and innovate our way out of it." As she spoke, the weight of her responsibilities forced her to confront a deeper fear. Was she truly capable of leading them through this crisis? Her instincts urged her forward. "I need your ideas. This is about all of us." The ripple of enthusiasm among the crowd soothed her. They were leaning into the collaborative spirit she had envisioned. "Let us turn setbacks into stepping stones, shall we?" The room buzzed with energy as people began to raise their hands, each voice contributing to the fabric of her newfound optimism. For the first time in a while, she felt a flicker of confidence grow within her. Every suggestion fueled her belief. She was adapting, transforming doubt into clear purpose. Each response was a small victory over her internal chaos. Jack watched her with a mix of admiration and caution. Something shifted in the dynamic between them, a shared acknowledgement of her potential. Yet, lurking in the background was a reminder of their unresolved issues, a specter of personal conflict that lingered. As the room filled with thoughtful chatter, she caught Jack's gaze. "Let us meet afterward to consolidate these ideas and come up with actionable steps," she proposed, straddling the line between personal and professional. Seeing him nod reminded her that she was not alone in this. They needed to be a united front. His support was crucial. But the connection they shared tugged at her heart. What if stepping into her role meant stepping away from the complicated territory of their relationship? The reality of that choice weighed heavily as she steered the conversation back to logistics, mentally noting their next move. Once the meeting concluded, Emma ushered her team away, their spirits renewed. Yet, she hesitated outside the room, refusing to allow the emotional high to wear off. Why did I feel so drawn to Jack? The question gnawed at her. No matter how often she rationalized it, she couldn't ignore the chemistry, a complex dance of desire and ambition intertwined. "Emma, can we talk?" Jack's gently insistent voice broke her reverie. He stepped closer, the distance between them a tightrope of unspoken sentiment. "Yeah, I was just thinking," she trailed off, measuring her thoughts. "Thank you for your support in there. It made a difference." "That's what I'm here for," he replied. But there was an edge, a challenge laced within his sincerity, urging her to confront the underlying tensions. "Not just that," she corrected, bracing for the moment of truth. "It's that we both need to be on the same page. This business, it's not just my father's legacy, it's ours too. If we're going to make decisions together, we need to understand what we want from this partnership." The air electrified between them as she let the layers of her vulnerability show. Every uncertainty she grappled with demanded acknowledgement, pressing her to confront the nature of their connection and what it could mean for both their professional futures and their personal dynamics. Jack studied her, the corners of his mouth twisting into a wry smile. "Funny, you know. I thought the same about us." His voice shifted, it resonated, a profound tone. In that moment, reality expanded. This was no longer about managing a crisis, it was about defining their very relationship amid the chaos. The fear of steering both a business and a personal connection struck her squarely. Would she choose ambition or emotion? As uncertainty clashed with mounting tension, a sinking realization spread within her. She had uncovered the heart of her dilemma, the nexus of conflict between duty and desire. But the thread had only begun to unravel. How would she respond to the shifting tides? "Emma, we need to figure out where we stand," Jack spoke again, a heavier weight now anchoring his words. The stakes shifted from professional to intimately personal, warming the air between them, but leaving her questioning whether she was ready for this confrontation. With a blend of anxiety and curiosity, the next moment lay before her like uncharted territory. Would she have the courage to explore the emotional intricacies of their bond, or would she draw back into the familiar comfort of her past? As they both awaited her answer, bracing for the tide of change, Emma faced the choice that could redefine everything. The moment of truth approached, and she found herself teetering on the edge, unwavering and undeniably compelled to leap. Emma's heart pounded in her chest, each beat a reminder of the choice she had yet to vocalize. The weight of Jack's gaze pressed on her, layering the air with an intensity that was equal parts exhilarating and terrifying. She knew this moment was critical, a fork in the road that could determine both her personal and professional destiny. The stakes were staggeringly high. "Jack," she began, her voice steadier than she felt. "We need clarity. In everything." The raw sincerity of her words sliced through the tension like a sharp knife. What would it mean to define the contours of their partnership? Breaching this topic felt like walking a tightrope, and she was acutely aware of every step. "We can't pretend these feelings don't exist," she continued, emboldened by the prospect of honesty. Each phrase she constructed reshaped her reality. She was not just Emily, the dutiful daughter running her father's business, she was a woman ready to embrace complexity. "Exactly. So what are you saying?" Jack's voice held an edge, his expression shifting from warmth to scrutiny, as if awaiting the verdict on a decision that had already begun to unfold around them. "I want to chart this course together, but on our own terms. We need to separate our professional goals from our personal feelings," she asserted, though her mind whispered doubts. Did she really believe that? Or was it merely a shield against her apprehension? Jack sighed, the weight of his breath filled with both frustration and understanding. "It's not that simple, Emma. You know that. And honestly, I don't want to hide what's between us, a friendship, a partnership, whatever you want to call it behind corporate jargon." His passion flared, and in that moment, Emma felt her resolve waver. She wanted to scream at him that every part of her was drawn to him, yet her instinct urged her to tread carefully. But could they even hope to maintain a professional balance? Then let us redefine it. Let us define us. Emma's impulse spilled free, her expression ignited with determination and vulnerability. She felt the sparks of resolve ignite inside her. If she couldn't confront this now, when would she? "Okay," Jack replied, the challenge fading from his eyes. "But we need to acknowledge the risks too. Balancing work and personal stakes isn't just some theoretical debate, it's a recipe for chaos if we're not careful." Emma absorbed his words. He was right, there was a potent danger in blurring those lines. Yet the prospect of forging something uniquely their own only fueled her courage. In his eyes, she could see the invitation to take that chance, and it was enough. "I think I could handle chaos if it's with you," she admitted, a tremor of sincerity lacing her tone. Here it was the thread between duty and desire woven tighter, ready to be tugged. Jack's gaze softened, and for a moment, they existed outside their struggles, a quiet acknowledgement of their shared potential. But the landscape of their negotiations shifted when he spoke again, each word laced with caution. "We might dance on the edge of a precipice, you know." Her breath caught. "Maybe dancing is what we need," she whispered, half joking but full of yearning. As their laughter faded into an atmosphere heavy with unspoken tension, unforeseeable revelations began to blossom. What if this union was not merely a leap into chaos, but a journey toward self-discovery for both of them? Emma could feel the fatiguing grip of convention loosening with every heartbeat and tentative step they took. But just as Emma began to entertain fantasies of how their partnership could flourish beyond the boundaries of the professional, a sharp realization struck her. What did she truly know about Jack's ambitions? Did they align as harmoniously as she hoped? "Jack, before we dive into this, we need to lay our cards on the table. I still don't know everything about you." The words resonated with an urgency that felt almost primal, she needed to encompass the whole person who stood before her rather than just the reflection of ambition she saw. In response, his eyes sharpened, and his expression shifted once again. "You're right. And there's a lot you don't know, starting with my background." The air tensed around them, a provocation that suggested deeper revelations lingered just beneath the surface. Emma's pulse quickened. The questions began to form rapidly, a sense of foreboding and anticipation mixed. "What do you mean?" As Jack prepared to unfold the layers of his life, Emma felt the tantalizing edge of transformation surrounding them. A glimpse of the truth lay just beyond reach, but what would it unveil? She stood on the precipice, caught between the allure of burgeoning affection and the deep-seated complexities that lay ahead. The dance of their destinies was just beginning, but could their steps synchronize without unraveling everything she had built? Jack shifted his weight, the tension in the air making the moment feel impossibly heavy. Emma could see that he was grappling with an internal conflict, and her own heart raced with the knowledge that the forthcoming revelations could either bind them closer together or send them tumbling into chaos. "Before I reveal too much," Jack began, his voice low, "you need to know that my past is not easy to understand. There are things I've done, choices I've made that have shaped who I am today." The gravity of his words hung in the air like a storm cloud threatening to burst. Emma felt the rush of emotions swirling within her, battling between curiosity and caution. She had spent her life cultivating a strong persona, managing her father's business, and steering her own path. But Jack's uncertainty stirred an impulse to dig deeper for both their sakes. She could feel the potential for transformation, not just in their relationship, but within her own understanding of herself. "Whatever it is, I want to understand you," she stated firmly, summoning her courage. "We can't navigate this partnership without knowing the full truth." Jack ran a hand through his hair, a gesture that signaled the weight of his thoughts. "I grew up in a world where I had to fight for every inch," he confessed, his voice tightening slightly. "My father built a company from nothing, and I was groomed to take over. I wanted to turn it into something ethical, something with a soul. But along the way, I've made compromises, sometimes decisions that I regret." The complexity of his words bewildered Emma. She leaned in closer, wanting to grasp the layers of meaning. What kind of compromises? She needed to understand the man who stood before her, enthusiastic yet burdened, ambitious yet vulnerable. He hesitated, weighing his words like precious gems. "There were deals I took on, partnerships I formed that ultimately didn't align with my vision. I wanted to leave my mark, but at times I lost sight of my principles. There are moments I wish I could erase, and they haunt me." As Jack spoke, Emma's analytical mind began to dissect the implications. Compromise and principles, these were weights she knew all too well from her own experiences in the business world. But here was Jack, admitting fault with sincerity that tugged at her heartstrings. She found herself drawn, not just to his ambition, but to the vulnerability he bared before her. "I get that," she said slowly, reflecting on the fragile balance of ambition and morality. "I've had my own struggles, feeling that the legacy of my father's business looms over me. Sometimes, it feels like I'm just trying to uphold a tradition, rather than build my own vision." Jack's gaze intensified, locking onto hers with an unwavering focus. "Then let us promise to build something together that feels right. We can redefine both our legacies if we're honest with ourselves." Emma's determination sparked anew, igniting a fire within her that had lain dormant. "The more we understand each other, the more powerful we become," she affirmed, the words spilling from her like an unshackling of self-imposed limitations. The realization that they could reshape their narrative together propelled her forward. Just as their conversation began to flow seamlessly, she noticed a shadow cross Jack's face, a flickering fear that unsettled her instinctively. "But what happens if the past threatens to catch up with us?" he asked, the vulnerability barely veiled by steely resolve. As the question lingered in the air, unease seeped back into the moment. Emma's mind raced, contemplating whether his past would intercede in their burgeoning connection, an obstacle she had yet to foresee. Then we'll confront it. Together, she insisted, the conviction in her voice a fragile shield against the uncertainties ahead. Jack offered a hesitant smile, yet the shadows in his eyes lingered. You make it sound simple, Emma, but I fear we're delving into waters that could drown us if we're not careful. Emma felt the familiar gentle burn of ambition rise within her. They were on the cusp of creating something uniquely defiant against conventional boundaries. What if drowning is the only way to immerse ourselves fully in what we can become? What if we dance on that edge and discover the rhythm of our own lives? The challenge lingered heavily in the air, threading a newfound tension through the space between them. Jack was silent, his expression etched in contemplation that mirrored her own. They stood, possibly united but also acutely aware of the vast unknown before them. And as the silence deepened, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the true test of their partnership was just beginning. With each heartbeat, their destinies entwined more intricately. But would they emerge as pioneers of a fresh legacy, or would the currents of Jack's past pull them under? With the stakes laid bare, Emma made a silent pledge to herself she would confront any darkness that emerged. If they were to truly dance, both would need to embrace the shadows, together. What awaited them on the horizon? The first glimmers of a storm or a sunlit path revealing possibilities beyond what either could initially grasp. As they stood poised at the edge of uncertainty, she couldn't help but wonder what revelations the dawn would bring. The air felt charged with the weight of unspoken fears and shared aspirations, and Emma could sense the pivotal moment before them. As Jack's silence stretched on, she took a deep breath, ready to probe further. It was time to shift the dynamics of their dialogue, to see beyond Jack's vulnerabilities and clarify her own. Jack, she began, her voice steady yet soft, we both have our burdens, our chains from the past. But can we promise to learn from them rather than let them define us? She searched his eyes, hoping to ignite a flicker of resolve amidst the turmoil. He exhaled slowly, and a hint of confidence resurfaced in his expression. You're right. It's easy to let regret control our future. I think I've been guilty of that, holding on to my past mistakes like a noose. His brow furrowed, and Emma saw that he was wrestling with an internal battle. The urge to let go collided with the fear of losing control. What if we funnel that pain into progress? Emma suggested, recalling the countless years she had spent navigating the treacherous waters of her father's business shadow. Every step we take can be an act of rebellion against our histories. Jack nodded, a spark igniting in his eyes. Rebellion that's invigorating to think about. It transforms defeat into purpose. He was beginning to embrace the notion that their shared history, steeped in hardship and regret, could also be a conduit for resilience. The conversation shifted as insights flowed between them, creating an environment ripe for collaboration. Emma felt a surge of inspiration. If Jack could acknowledge his mistakes and reshape his narrative, perhaps she could do the same. She had often been paralyzed by the expectations resting on her shoulders, and here was the opportunity to carve out her own path. Let us set out some goals for ourselves, Emma proposed, her ambition overtaking her caution. If we're going to redefine our legacies, we need a clear vision and a plan to execute it. Jack's demeanor shifted, he carried a newfound urgency. Agreed. Let us devise something that integrates our values, not just for profit but for something greater like integrity and responsibility. The seriousness in his tone fortified Emma's resolve, igniting a kindred sense of purpose. Let us apply our combined experiences to create a model that reflects authenticity, she suggested, her mind racing with possibilities. We could implement ethical practices that resonate with both of us. Jack leaned in, a cooperative spirit transforming his previously hesitant stance. It sounds like we're on the brink of creating a business that doesn't just seek to survive, but thrives off doing good. This is what I've always wanted. As excitement filled the cracks of their initial trepidation, Emma sensed a change brewing within herself as well. She had spent so long being the caretaker of her father's legacy that she ironically neglected her own passions. Now, with Jack by her side, she felt emboldened to seize her narrative and direct her destiny. But with every exhilarating thought resurfacing hopes, a sense of dread taunted her. If they were to confront their pasts together, that meant shedding layers of their identities and facing vulnerabilities head-on. Would their professional partnership survive the exposure of personal truths? "Jack," she ventured, "this journey could bring us to places we've never imagined, but it may also challenge everything we hold dear." Her tone held firm, balancing caution against her invigorated spirit. "I understand," he replied, his expression fierce yet steadfast. "But if we can navigate through this storm, I believe we might just find the clarity we've both been seeking." Both felt the thrill of the chase juxtaposed with an unsettling anxiety. A steady rhythm of uncertainty pulsed around them, a dance they had yet to master. As they exchanged ideas about their future venture, the vision of working in tandem filled the air with promise. Yet, just as momentum seemed to gather strength, the shadows of their past reminded them of the weight they both carried. Each revealing moment threatened to unravel the threads of their potential partnership. Determined, Emma thrust a simple, direct challenge into the atmosphere between them. "Are you ready to let go of your regrets, Jack? Because I'm ready to dive headfirst into this, but I need to know you'll meet me there, fully." He hesitated as the question hung heavily in the air, his face a tapestry of both anticipation and uncertainty. She held her breath, wondering if his answer would be the breakthrough they needed or an indication that some past simply cannot be overcome. In that charged moment, Emma's future and the fate of their partnership teetered precariously on the edge of choice. Would Jack be able to unshackle himself from his ghosts? Would he embrace the roots of rebellion alongside her? Would they both dare to stretch their wings and face whatever lay ahead, together? Emma felt an unsettling rush of uncertainty wash over her, both thrilling and terrifying. As she awaited Jack's response, she couldn't shake the feeling that the real test of their potential had only just begun. Would they emerge transformed or simply become shadows of their past selves? Jack's silence pressed against Emma like a thick fog. She felt the weight of every unspoken word, every hesitation that stretched before them like an insurmountable wall. Her heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread. He was standing on the brink of revelation, just as she was. And in that moment, both of their realities hinged on a single response. Finally, he leaned forward, eyes narrowing as he searched for the right words. "I want this," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper, yet infused with a nascent intensity. "I want to break free from my past. It scares me, but I know that if I'm going to step into the future I have to shed those ghosts." Emma felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, feeding off the vulnerability he had just exposed. This was no longer merely a business venture, it was a crucible of change. "Then let us support each other. Let's cut those chains together. I know I have my own struggles, and I don't want to hide from them anymore." With each exchange, Emma discovered the strength within herself she never fully acknowledged before. She realized that her fears about following her passion were deeply rooted in the fear of failure, planted years ago by her father's towering expectations. But with every conversation, she chipped away at that trepidation, donning a courageous sense of ownership over her path. "Let us not just create a business," Emma declared, her voice gaining strength. "Let us forge a new identity, one that aligns with our values." The synergy between their visions electrified her. If she could capture this momentum, perhaps they could both emerge from their pasts, bold and undeniable. Jack nodded, a current of authenticity flowing through him. "I can't be the same person anymore. This partnership can't simply be about profits, it needs to make a difference." Suddenly, he was animated, gesturing broadly as he outlined ideas that had once turned to dust in his mind. Emma felt invigorated by his transformation, the potential he saw sparking fresh ideas in her own mind. There's a growing market for products that not only empower consumers but also give back to communities, Emma suggested, feeling the foundation of their aspirations solidify. "We could craft a brand that resonates deeply with people, offering something meaningful rather than just another product." Jack's expression transformed, a flicker of recognition illuminating his features. Exactly. An ethical enterprise that bridges the gap between business acumen and social responsibility. But for that, we need to cultivate trust both in ourselves and in each other. As they delved deeper into their brainstorming, Emma's earlier doubts began to dissipate. It wasn't enough to merely adapt, she realized that they needed to fully invest in this endeavor. Not just professionally, but personally. The thought both thrilled and terrified her. How much would they have to reveal? What scars would they have to lay bare? We need to be transparent, Jack said suddenly, breaking into her thoughts. If we're going to ask others to trust our vision, we must trust each other first. No more secrets. The earnestness in his gaze challenged her to confront her own hesitations. Emma felt a rush of gratitude. Yes, their partnership was fraught with the potential for failure and pain, but it was also bursting with possibility. Fine. But that means we also need to hold each other accountable. We can't shy away from difficult conversations. Are you ready for that? Jack's affirmative nod sent a wave of exhilaration coursing through her. Together, they were forging something unbreakable, something that thrived on honesty and purpose. To build this venture, they would have to confront not only their pasts but also their deepest insecurities. The stakes were high, and Emma could sense that they were on the cusp of change, personal and professional. But as the excitement built, so did an undeniable fear. Would they each be able to handle the weight of their truths? The prospect of failure loomed larger with every courageous step forward. Let us meet again in a week. To outline our business plan and personal reflections, Jack proposed, laced with determination. Emma agreed, heart racing at the thought of the coming days, filled with introspection and revelations that could either free or bind them both. As they concluded their conversation, the air felt electric with unspoken promises. Emma stepped outside, the evening sun casting long shadows, echoing the duality of their venture. She hesitated for a moment, uncertainty tugging at her. Could she really strip away the layers that had protected her for so long? Would this journey of authenticity ultimately bind them together or unravel everything they had just begun to weave? The path ahead shimmered with both challenge and possibility, each step a testament to their willingness to confront their truths. But as darkness began to blanket the sky, Emma sensed that the hardest part was yet to come. Each revelation would be a crucible confronting origins, unraveling the tightly wound narratives of their lives. As she walked away, her heart pounding, she felt the stirrings of change. It was time to discover what lay buried beneath the surface, for both of them. Would they have the courage to uncover the unknown? Emma's resolve solidified, she was ready to dive in, but would Jack match her in this transformative plunge? The week unfolded like a tightly coiled spring, each day a distinct mixture of anticipation and dread. Emma found herself caught in the undertow of her own thoughts, wrestling with the implications of her burgeoning partnership with Jack. The conversations they had shared reverberated in her mind, and she began to approach her personal reflection as she would prepare for an important presentation. Each insight was a piece of a puzzle she hadn't quite been able to assemble. Every morning, she woke with a gnawing anxiety, one she had grown accustomed to navigating in the labyrinth of her father's expectations. Could she truly break free from that past? On the outside, she maintained a stoic facade, going through her daily routines, but inside, the turmoil churned. She dove into her work, immersing herself in project details, but as the hours passed, her thoughts would drift to Jack and the future they were trying to build. By the time their meeting was upon her, Emma felt as if she were stepping onto a precipice. The familiar cafe where they had first talked about their venture felt different today, charged with possibilities and unspoken fears. She arrived early, ordering a steaming cup of coffee, the bitter scent sharpening her resolve. When Jack arrived, his demeanor seemed lighter, almost invigorated. He greeted her with a warm smile, but Emma could see hints of unease flickering in his eyes. They settled into a corner table, and after exchanging pleasantries, the weight of their previous discussions lay heavily between them. "Let us dive in," Jack said, his voice steady but laced with underlying tension. I spent the last week thinking about our values and mission statement. I believe they're the heart of what we'll create. We can't build a brand without a solid foundation. Emma's heart raced with appreciation for Jack's focused intent. I agree, she replied, sliding a notebook across the table. It was filled with her jotted ideas and reflections, a fusion of her professional ambitions and personal revelations. I used our discussions to reflect on my motivations. I realized that my fear of failure is tied to my need for approval, something I've chased since childhood. To move forward, I need to step away from that. Jack looked at her, his gaze unwavering. It's a heavy burden to carry, he noted, jotting down her words. But letting go isn't easy. My ghosts are nearly as cumbersome, doubting whether I'm worth this chance. His honesty fueled Emma's determination. Jack, we have to be ready to strip each other bare. What we reveal can be our strength. It won't just be about the business, it'll be about us, too. We can't have a foundation without understanding what threatens it. They launched into a back-and-forth dialogue, each of them peeling back layers of personal history while molding their business strategy into something profound. Emma discovered that Jack had faced pressures from his family as well, but their fears pivoted around perceived worth through financial success. The more they shared, the more Emma felt a sense of unity growing. But as they laid the groundwork for their partnership, Emma felt the edge of doubt looming over them. What if we are not enough? She challenged, her voice losing some of its earlier strength. What if this vulnerability exposes us to too much? What if we fail? He leaned forward, eyes sharp, resolute. The point of failure isn't the end, Emma. It's part of the journey. If we share our truths, even when they scare us, it makes our foundation unbreakable. I refuse to let the ghosts dictate our future. His conviction resonated like a drumbeat in her mind. Perhaps she could redefine her concept of success, allowing transformation rather than perfection to guide her. Emma committed to this path, determined to confront her fears head-on, if only to emerge stronger. As they transitioned into discussing marketing strategies and branding ethos, an undercurrent of connection burgeoned between them. This sense of shared vulnerability gave rise to a profound realization: their partnership was dependent not only on accountability in business but also in navigating their personal journeys together. With the meeting wrapping up, Emma felt a tumult of emotions stirring within. They had cracked open something fragile yet vital, and with it, the stakes had risen. I feel like we're on the edge of something big, she said, her eyes searching Jack's. But with that comes a weight. Are we truly ready for this? Jack's steady gaze anchored her. Only by facing what looms behind us can we craft a future that lights the way ahead. We are about to take the plunge both into business and into the unknown depths of ourselves. But as she walked away from the meeting, Emma's heart thrummed with unease. The path of discovery now stretched out before her, unraveling complexities that she hadn't fully grasped. What if confronting their truths did more than unravel the fragile threads of trust they'd just begun weaving? As the evening darkened, uncertainty returned, whispering that the toughest battles lay ahead. Would they truly have the fortitude, or would their shared vulnerabilities become their undoing? The days that followed their crucial meeting transformed Emma and Jack in ways neither could fully anticipate. Every morning began with renewed purpose and an undeniable rhythm, an unspoken pact between them. Emma felt buoyed by her commitment to uncover both her deep-seated fears and her burgeoning ambitions. She dared to forge a brighter path with Jack, confident that a shared conviction could carry them through the upcoming challenges. Their brainstorming sessions continued to solidify their partnership, each meeting laced with a heady mix of professional zeal and personal connection. Emma found herself genuinely enjoying the banter, the flow of ideas and ambition intermingling in ways that awakened something dormant within her. Jack's insights intertwined with her vision, creating an energetic atmosphere that spurred them forward. Through discussions about their business plan, Emma gleaned invaluable lessons about herself. She reinforced her resolve to shed the chains of her past, knowing that she would no longer be just a vessel of her father's legacy. This was an evolution, one where she sought to build a business that reflected her core values, not merely surviving, but thriving with purpose. However, the darker undertones of doubt still clung to the edges of her consciousness. As the momentum built, Emma could sense that true intimacy, the kind that could either thrive or crumble under pressure, huddled just beneath their business discussions. With the upcoming presentation to potential investors looming, another layer of authenticity awaited exploration. They would need to bring their truths to the forefront. They could not sidestep the personal stakes entwined in their venture. "Jack, when we stand in front of those investors, we can't just lay out numbers and projections. We have to tell them our story, the story that has led us to this moment," Emma insisted one afternoon as they prepared their pitch. Jack regarded her for a moment, letting the weight of her words sink in. "You mean the vulnerability?" he asked, weighing the implications. "Yes. It's not just about the business, it's about who we are and why we want this to succeed. Sharing our truths has been our strength, let us not hide from it now," Emma urged, her voice firm yet earnest. Jack nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding igniting in his eyes. "I see what you mean. If we want their belief in us, we have to bare our souls a bit. It makes it real." Their next meeting centered around crafting not just a pitch but a narrative that intertwined their personal quests with their entrepreneurial ambitions. As they worked tirelessly, Emma realized that opening up did not equate to weakness but was, in fact, empowering. Each moment of honesty brought them closer together, layering an intimacy that transcended the business landscape. On the eve of their presentation, Emma decided to confront her own uncertainties about Jack directly. They had grown close over the last few weeks, and she felt compelled to communicate feelings that had begun to swirl alongside their professional aspirations. "Jack," she began as they prepared their notes, "we both know that this venture means more than just profits or growth. But how do we envision our own partnership fitting into that?" He paused, his expression revealing a blend of surprise and curiosity. "Are you asking about us?" he queried, his tone cautious yet inviting. Emma nodded, the gravity of the conversation settling over them. "I feel a sense of connection that's beyond our mutual goals. But what does that mean moving forward? How do we ensure it doesn't disrupt what we're building here?" Jack's brows furrowed, and he took a deep breath. "It's complicated. I care about you, Emma. But I worry that blurring the lines could create chaos. We've both stepped out from shadows. What if those shadows creep back into play?" His honesty resonated. Emma mirrored his concern as she realized that a romantic involvement would complicate their delicate balance of ambition intertwined with vulnerability. Yet she sensed an explosion of potential within their connection, an exhilarating sense of challenge as they moved forward together. "I propose we take it slow," Emma suggested, the sincerity in her eyes piercing through the tension. "Let us embrace the journey of discovery, both in business and personally. No forced definitions. Let's see where this goes." Jack regarded her thoughtfully, a slow smile breaking through his uncertainty. "I can agree to that. Let us explore this and not put pressure on ourselves to have it all figured out immediately." Both breathed a sigh of relief, the curtains lifting on their mutual understanding. With hearts laced with hope, they stepped into the investor pitch the next day, fully embracing their shared narrative. Emma spoke articulately of her father's legacy and how she yearned to honor it through an innovative approach that would balance profitability with ethical responsibility. Jack complimented her vision, weaving in his own experiences of growth out of shadows. Every word dripped with authenticity, and as they stood before the investors, Emma felt an exhilarating shift within herself. The essence they shared, their vulnerabilities laid bare, struck a chord with the room. Just as they finished, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Investors were nodding, their curiosity piqued not only by the business model but by the palpable connection between Emma and Jack. In that moment, she fully grasped what had blossomed between them during their tumultuous journey. It had woven a fabric of ambition and authenticity, unveiling strength in their union. Afterward, as they stepped into the fresh air, exhilaration enveloped them. "We did it!" Emma exclaimed, laughter bubbling to the surface. They seemed genuinely invested. Jack chuckled, his eyes sparkling with pride. "I think we touched something deeper. And for the record, I want to explore whatever this is," he added, gesturing between them. "Me too," Emma said, her heart swelling. "Let us not rush it, but let us keep going where our paths take us." Jack beamed as he slid his hand into hers, an impulsive gesture that solidified their commitment to unravel the journey ahead. Every past defeat and fear had collided with an undeniable spark, the promise of a shared future. In the weeks that followed, Emma transformed, stepping further into her own landscape of ambition while navigating the complex mingling of hearts and minds. She felt an unyielding surge of confidence. They were creating something exceptional. Recognition from investors materialized, and the budding business sparked excitement. As accolades flowed in, Emma realized she had carved out not just a professional identity but a new personal narrative. Amidst the accolades, she hadn't forgotten the fragility they had initially forged through vulnerability. With Jack by her side, she sought deeper connections, honesty, and synergy. She had built not just a successful venture, but a partnership that encompassed every layer of their experience. And as Emma stood before a packed room at their launch event, buoyed by a sense of achievement and fulfillment, she grinned at Jack, the shared expression of triumph lighting their way. They were uncharted territories explored together, emboldened by an unbreakable bond. As the applause washed over them, Emma felt a tremendous sense of pride. Having allowed herself to wade through insecurities, she had emerged transformed, ready to sail toward new horizons of success, armed with a wellspring of hope and blooming possibilities. Now was the time to take action. She would seize the moment, taking every step with intent, knowing that every challenge faced had gained her the opportunity to emerge empowered. Emma lifted her chin, confidence radiating from within. This was not merely the closure of a chapter, it was the soaring onset of a new adventure, one she would navigate with Jack, side by side, thriving as partners in life and business. And so, she knew deep down, this was only the beginning of their magnificent journey. Now, true fans of powerful personal transformation stories, you need to subscribe immediately to our channel. Don't wait a moment longer. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know how much you love this emotional conclusion. We want to hear your thoughts, so comment below with your reactions and theories. And for goodness sake, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need this inspirational finale in their lives. Only the real enthusiasts of personal growth truly grasp the significance of supporting our channel. Act now.